kindergarten friends, happy Monday. We're in a brand new week for language arts, and it's going to be a review week. So we're going to talk about all the different things we have learned in the last 5 weeks about different kinds of stories, which ones are our favorite and why. So let's jump back in and see where we started. So here is the front of our packet this week. Remember, if you are an 8A student, you'll be getting it with Miss Beery and Mrs. Morgan in the classroom. If you are a BD student, you'll get it later in the week. So we have up here, our whole unit theme has been about tell me a story. And we start right here where it says go back to each text and name one reason why we like stories. Use the weekly questions to help you. So we started down here and we had Anasi got his stories. What can we learn from his stories? So remember, he went and got the lion and the leopard to go up the mountain, so he got the stories, right? All those wonderful stories, and he was able to share those stories with the children. The next one we read was the Gingerbread Man and the story of the Cornbread Man. And so we were able to compare those two stories, how the Gingerbread Man and the Cornbread Man were very similar, but there was some differences. So it is nice to be able to look at different stories and see what did you like about the Gingerbread Man compared to maybe the Cornbread Man. And we're going to be doing that this week as well with some different stories. We go up to what do we like? Why do we like poems? So we reviewed some of our poems and our nursery rhymes. We were able to look at those and practice them. Remember how those poetry stories have rhyming words, and that helps us to learn the rhymes, as well as they have a nice tune to them when you do the nursery rhymes. We read the best story. Why do we like certain kinds of stories? So that's where we learned how some of the kids like fairy tale stories. Some of them like to learn about animals or adventures. And so we got to talk about what kind of stories we like. Do we like the realistic fiction, something that could really happen to us, or do we like the fairy tale stories better? And we continued that into what do myths teach us about nature. And so last week we talked about how there's different kinds of myths that go into nature, just like we celebrated Groundhog's Day. And it doesn't really mean that if the groundhog sees a shadow and hides in his little burrow that we're going to have a longer winter. It's just one of those myths. Just like we also learned about how the bear got his tail stuck in the water, and that's why they have short tails now. So those are the things where we have myths, but they typically teach us some kind of lesson, and they normally start with a long time ago. Just like if your mom or dad or maybe your grandma or grandpa was telling you a story, they normally start with a long time ago because it wasn't something that happened recent. So here we are in our last week, why do we like stories? And so we're going to be doing some projects in the classroom, and then we're also going to be reviewing some of the stories we have read. We're going to read The Little Red Hen and compare different versions of that story. And that's just like our story last week where we read Masani Can Help, and Masani was able to help in this story. And in the story of The Little Red Hen, she's looking for help too to bake some bread. And so we'll be looking at that story this week. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to just read a short story in this week's packet. We don't have a big story, just a short one. And then we're going to do some review activities after that. Okay, boys and girls, we're on page 217, and we're going to read the story, The Fun Trip. Now remember, this is going to be a short story, so this is something that you'll be able to practice at home very easily too. So Miss Beery will read the story once through, and then we'll go back and practice it. And then tomorrow we'll dig into finding some more of those details in the story. The Fun Trip, that's our title, and we always go from the top to bottom, left to right. We get in the van. We are going on a fun trip. So we don't know where they're going, but they're going in a van, and it looks like they do have some stuff there. Mom has her purse, the little brother has a backpack, so does the sister, and it looks like the dad might be putting some food in the back of the van. Okay, let's go to the next page and see what happens. Okay, follow along with Miss Beery. Mom and Dad go on a hike. Look at the fox and the cub. Do you know where they live? So it looks like they are in a forest area. It doesn't look like there's any houses. I see lots of trees, and I see a dirt path. And it looks like that's where the fox and the cub live. So remember, a cub is a baby bear, and then we have the fox over here. Those are both wild animals, so they do not live indoors with us. They live out in nature. And look, it's just the mom and the little boy that went on the hike, not the dad and the sister, at least in this part. So let's look on the next side. Dad and I bike to the lake. We see a bug going up a stem. I take a sip from the jug. So a stem of the flowers where the bug is, and then she took a sip from the jug. So that means she got some water. So it looks like The mom and the little boy were over here going through the woods, and then it looks like the little girl and her dad went on a bike ride to the lake. So you can see how there's a path over here, walking path, and maybe there's a bike path over here. So let's go back to the beginning, and we're going to read it one time through again. This time as I read it, I'm going to read a sentence, and then I want you to read it after me. So I'll read it, and then I'll read it one more time, pointing to the words so that you can practice with me. We get in the van. Your turn. We get in the van. Great job. Next line. We are going on a fun trip. Your turn. We are going on a fun trip. Great job. Next page. Follow along with Miss Beery. Mom and Dave go on a hike. Your turn. Mom and Dave go on a hike. Next line. Look at the fox and the cub. Your turn. Look at the fox and the cub. Next line. Do you know where they live? Your turn. Do you know where they live? Next side. Dad and I bike to the lake. Your turn. Dad and I bike to the lake. Okay, my turn. We see a bug going up a stem. Your turn. We see a bug going up a stem. Last line. I take a sip from the jug. Your turn. I take a sip from the jug. Wonderful job, boys and girls. Now remember, you can go back and read that story with your mom or dad or little brother or sister too, just to show them how awesome you are reading. So remember, everybody needs to practice to be a better reader, okay? Remember, take your time, sound out those words if you're not sure. Don't just ask for help. I want you to look at these words and see if you can sound some of them out. We have a lot of those sight words in there too that we practice, so make sure you're practicing your sight words at home. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at pages 214 and 215. Miss Beery has her black pen. I hope you get your pencil ready, and then we're going to be looking at these words and sounding them out. Now, if you're at home and you don't have your packet yet, how about you grab a piece of paper so that way you can write these words along with us. Make sure you're sounding them out too. So our first one is a rug. So we have g. What says R? What says U? What says G? Very good. So we have R-U-G, rug. Next we have bug, bug. So what's the first sound you hear? B. Down and give it a curve. Next is What says U? Great job. And last one, what says G? Remember, G says ga, J says ja. We have a lot of friends that sometimes mix those up. So remember, G says ga, J says ja. Next we have mug, mug, What's the first sound? What letter is that? M. Next we have another sound, so we're working on that U sound. And the last one is G. M-U-G. And look, these are rhyming words because we have rug, bug, and mug. They all have the U-G ending. Okay, next we have F-U-N. What is F-U-N is fun. Go ahead and write it. F-U-N, fun. Great job. Next we have sun. Sun. What's the first letter? S. Then we have a U. And the last one is N. Okay, now we have our last one. We have run. What's our first letter? R. Then we have U. And then we have N. We have run. So we have fun, sun, and run, and those all rhyme. They have the unending. So we have a word family up here with the UG, rug, bug, mug, and then we have a word family down here, the UN. We have fun, sun, and run. Great job, boys and girls. Make sure you go back. You can trace these again with a crayon. You can even rainbow write them different colors and practice sounding out each of those letters as you are doing this. Next, we're going to look at our sight words for this week. So our sight words this week are L-I-V-E, live, K-N-O-W, no. So this is not the N-O, no. This is the K-N-O-W, no. So you know something. You know that you can do a good job. You know that at recess we play. And then going, we have G-O-I-N-G, going. So we have the word go, and then ing. The I-N-G will always say ing, like ring, or a ping, or king. So we're going to read through the sentences first, and then we will look for the sight words. We are going to the lake. What can live here? I know, a frog can live here. Wonderful. So Miss Beery is going to get her highlighter out. You can use a crayon at home if you have one, or you can use whatever materials you do have at home. So let's look for those words. The first one is live, so I'm going to go ahead and circle. Now live is a sight word because I see a magic E, but it doesn't say live. It says live, which is why it's a little tricky words that we have to know from sight and not just sound them out. So let's look for it. We are going to the lake. What can live? Oh, there it is. L-I-V-E, live. Here, let's make sure there's not another one. I know a frog can't. Oh, there's another one. Live here. Wonderful. Okay, let's look for our next sight word. K-N-O-W, no. Just like when you're looking in your head. K-N-O-W, no. Not the N-O, no, where you shake your head. So let's look for no. We are going to the lake. What can live here? I know. There it is. So go ahead, and I want you to draw a box around it. Then I'll draw a box around it up here too. Wonderful. Let's look for that last one. G-O-I-N-G, going. So let's look for that one. And this time we're going to underline it. We are going, there it is, to the lake. What can live here? I know. A frog can live here. So that's the only one we have. Okay, boys and girls, the next thing we're going to do is we are just going to practice some syllables, and then we'll be done for language arts today. Okay, boys and girls, I'm going to show you a word, and then I want you to clap it out at home. So we have arrow. So we have arrow. How many? 2. Next we have teddy. So how many? Teddy. How many? 2. We have Cupid. Cupid to go with Valentine's Day. So we have Cupid. How many? Cupid. 2. Great job. Next Miss Beery loves cookies. Ready? Cookie. How many? Cookie. 2. Make sure you're clapping at home too. Candy. How many? Candy. 2. Next we have cupcake. Cupcake. How many? 2. We're getting a lot of 2s in a row. Oh, here's one. Ready for this one? February. February. How many? 4. That's a long one. Ready? Couple. Couple. 2. We have secrets. Secrets. How many? 2. Ready? Bicycle. 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 How many? 3. Next one, ready? Lollipop. Lollipop. How many? 3. Poem. Poem. How many? 2. Envelope. Ready? Envelope. Envelope. We have 3. Great job, boys and girls. So make sure you are practicing those syllables at home too. Make sure you work on your sight words today and practicing all those letters. We are really going to be focused on making sure you know how to write your letters and how you can identify each letter and each letter sound. So I will see you tomorrow for more language arts. Bye, friends.